Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
This D-backs homestand continues after taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. It's the San Diego Padres in tonight, the first of a 4-game set. And tonight, a rematch of our great pitching duel last week in San Diego. Join us for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Renly along the way. The first of 4, the D-backs and the Padres. Our 2 starting pitchers tonight met last week at Petco Park in San Diego and pitched to a 2-hour and 13-minute 1-0 game. Zach Greinke and Jhoulys Chacín, round 2 coming up.
That was as good a pitching duel as I've seen in years. The offense has certainly taken over the game of baseball, but Zach Greinke, Jhoulys Chacín, both on top of their game. Look at those numbers. I mean, you mentioned a 2-hour and 13-minute game. It seemed faster than that. Both of these guys were absolutely dealing.
Well, Torey Lovullo likes to make out his starting lineup a few days in advance. He's been rotating the off days among his regulars out there, and tonight Goldie's number is up. Paul Goldschmidt gets his first day off this year. Chris Herman starts at first base.
Yeah, it's part of the balancing act for a manager. Of course, you want to win every day your team takes the field, but the reality is you've got big games coming up in August and September, and you want to make sure Goldie, as well as the rest of the Diamondbacks roster, is healthy and ready to play at the end of the season. So Paul Goldschmidt, the secret weapon off the bench tonight.
Well, we're ready to play this one. Should be good. Jhoulys Chacín and Zach Greinke, their second head-to-head matchup in less than a week. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. First pitch coming up. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos. Lone Butte, Bequiva, and Wild Horse Pass. By Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Welcome to the gig life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Roof is open here at Chase Field, and we are just about set to go. Zach Greinke and the Padres' Jhoulys Chacin last week at Petco Park, a 1-0 pitchers duel. Round 2 is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Tonight in Phoenix, the roof is open, the outfield panels closed. The D-backs 8-2 here at Chase Field this year, matching their best home start since 2008. Andy Green's Padres are in for the first of 4. And let's check the lineup for San Diego. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Manuel Margot leading it off out in center field. Will Myers, he has been red hot in the early going this season. Always a guy to keep your eye on. He'll be at first base. Yangervis Solarte at second base. Hunter Renfroe out in right field. Austin Hedges doing the catching. Ryan Schimpf down at third base. Jabari Blash getting the start in left field today. Zach Greinke's nemesis Eric Ibar at shortstop, and Jhoulys Chacin on the mound for the Padres.
And for the Diamondbacks, your Ram truck starting pitcher is the right-hander Zach Greinke. 1 win in 4 starts. He was brilliant, but the hard luck loser against these Padres Wednesday in San Diego. The Eric Ibar home run in the 8th inning, the only run Zach allowed in 8 full innings.
How efficient was he against the Padres in San Diego? 20 of the 24 batters that he faced in that game, he retired in 4 pitches or fewer.
Wow. 2-hour and 13-minute ball game last time these two squared off. The rookie Manuel Margot steps in. Zach Greinke adjusting his defenders behind him, and we are set to go. The first of 4, the D-backs and the San Diego Padres. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. The fastball misses up, and it's 1-0 on Manuel Margot. 286 and 3 home runs. His bat has been heating up lately for Andy Green. Margot's had 2 hits in each of his last 3 games. Very comfortable night at the ballpark. 88 degrees, very little wind out there. A Monday night in the Valley in late April.
Manuel Margot may have settled into that leadoff spot. Leading off games this year, he's 9 for 16. That's a .563 batting average, 6 extra base hits, including 2 homers when leading off the ball game.
Andy Green loves his overall energy up there, the way he bounces around. That's fouled back, and it's 2-2. Manuel Margot was the MVP of the Pacific Coast League playoffs last year. He had 304 at AAA El Paso. Also stole 30 bases. Jeff Mathis behind the plate tonight.
Oh, I say Zach had it all going on last time against San Diego. 25 strikes out of 30 sliders. He threw 30 sliders, 25 for strikes. 7 out of 10 with his curveball, 6 out of 10 with his changeup, and 29 out of 46 with his fastball. Just pounding the zone.
Fastball down and away. He gets Margot to chase for the first out of the ball game. Let's check the Diamondbacks defensively. Our eye on defense is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers as he chases that fastball down and away.
Yeah, Yasmani Tomas will be in left field today for the Diamondbacks. A.J. Pollock in center. David Peralta over in right field. Jake Lamb and Chris Owings will man the left side of the infield with Brandon Drury and Chris Herman on the right side with Jeff Mathis catching for Zach Greinke.
First scheduled day off for the year for Goldie. Here's the dangerous Will Myers, who is leading the major leagues in hits. He's batting .354 with 4 home runs.
It seemed odd to fill out the lineup card and not just automatically put Goldie in the 3 spot.
Yeah, I know how you feel. It's a little off-putting. Chris Owings is batting 3rd. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, Torrey has all this stuff planned out in advance, and he does not like to waver from his script. If he's got a guy for a scheduled off day, something really significant has to happen for him not to get the off day. He's been very good about distributing those off days around and keeping the bench players involved. Greinke jumps ahead of Myers 1-2.
Well, part of the problem with Goldie is trying to find a pitcher that he struggles against. You know, usually you find an opposing pitcher in the rotation that's going to throw against you in the series, and you say that's the day we're going to give Paul off, because he has struggled against that guy in the past, but he doesn't struggle against too many pitchers.
Goldie homered in the first yesterday against Brandon McCarthy. Myers hits it on a button, but right to Brandon Drury at second base. 2 outs. Well, Zach Greinke has not allowed a hit in the first inning in any of his last 3 starts. And so far so good. 2 up, 2 down. And here's Yangervis Solarte, the second baseman. Solarte, 243, 2 home runs. He's hit safely in 4 straight games. Looks at a first pitch fastball at 89 from Greinke, and it's 0-1. Diamondbacks won 6 of the 9 meetings with the Padres here at Chase Field last year. Tonight, the first of 4 over this 10-game homestand. 4 against the Padres and 3 against the Colorado Rockies coming up this weekend. dbacks.com/tickets. Solarte hits it hard toward the right field corner. Peralta able to cut it off with a backhander, and he holds Solarte to a 2-out single. So there's a first inning hit against Greinke.
Trying to come inside with a fastball. Gets straight out there over the inside corner of the plate. Solarte hooks it down into the corner. There's one thing that kind of goes unnoticed. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but the Diamondbacks outfielders getting to balls just like that and getting them back into the infield and holding the batter to a single.
Yeah, that looked like a sure double. Here's Hunter Renfroe, the right fielder. Leads all National League rookies with 4 homers and 8 RBIs. He homered yesterday in the Padres lost to Miami in San Diego. Did he check? No, he did not, says Gary Cedarstrom. The crew chief is down at first. Adrian Johnson, our plate umpire tonight, a personal favorite. I like Adrian. He's my guy back there.
Okay. All right.
Just his very quick, definitive strike call. That's what we like. No messing around with AJ back there.
As long as it's a strike.
Correct. Well, there is that. That's going to get out of play, and it's quickly 0-2.
Boy, it was fun to watch Zach Greinke pitching to some of these young Padre hitters at Petco Park last week, including Hunter Renfroe, Manuel Margot, some of the other young guys that were in the lineup that night. Alan Cordoba was playing out in the outfield that night. He just carved them up. I mean, he threw fastballs in, sliders away, fastball up, change up, down. They had no idea what to look for on the next pitch.
Yeah, Zach said his command was really good in that start at Petco Park last week. Probably the best he's had. Fastball just missed there. It's 1-2. A complete game 5 hitter. He walked only 1, struck out 6. Missed it. That's a foul ball, says Eric Cooper. And there's the Lizard King, Rodney Morrison, our Golden Glover down the left field line.
Be careful down there, Lizard King. People are strange.
I see what you did there.
Oh, nice effort by Jake Lamb that time. Fortunately, that ball hooked into foul territory. Looked like it was going to be trouble off the bat.
Here's Rodney Morrison, rookie Golden Glover down the left field line. A veteran has right field tonight. That, of course, is Sam No Neck Noriega. 1-2 on the rookie Hunter Renfroe. Herman holding Solarte on the bag at first. And Greinke has his second strikeout. He strands the 2-out single. Diamondbacks coming up against Yolis Chacin. For the Padres, the right-hander Yolis Chacin, 2-2 in 4 starts, a 4.70 ERA. Outstanding his previous time out against these D-backs last Wednesday at Petco Park, when he allowed only 3 hits over 8 scoreless innings.
And his command was equal to Zach Greinke's in that ball game. Threw 37 sliders in that game, 28 for strikes. Oof. He was a handful.
A.J. Pollock will lead it off.
Sinker slider combination mostly from Chacin. You will see an occasional curveball, an occasional straight changeup, but if he's commanding that sinker and slider, you'll see a bunch of them.
His command with that two-seam fastball last week was just outstanding. Pollock 308, a pair of homers. Back after a day off yesterday. Chop to third. Ryan Schimpf down there. Throws him out. Let's take a look at the lineup for Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
A.J. Pollock just grounded out to third base. He'll be in center field once again. David Peralta making his way to the plate. He's out in right field. Chris Owings plugging that big three-hole in the lineup tonight at shortstop. Jake Lamb at third. Yasmani Tomas out in left field. Brandon Drury at second base. Chris Herman over at first. Jeff Mathis doing the catching for right-hander Zach Greinke.
Padres will put the shift on for David Peralta. Eric Ibar, the shortstop, the only defender on the left-hand side. Peralta drives one the other way. Manuel Margot will watch it go. David Peralta, that's his third, and it's 1-0. That one was slicing away from the Padres center fielder, and it carried all the way into the seats.
David has really done a nice job this year driving the ball to the opposite field. He always faces an exaggerated pull shift, but David hasn't been a dead pull hitter this year. That one just does sneak up into the seats out there in left center.
That is the fourth consecutive game the Diamondbacks have hit a first-inning home run. That's a jumbo jack, a free jumbo jack tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink from our friends at Jack in the Box, and tell them the freight train sent you.
How about that?
Chris Owings batting in Goldie's spot, 0-1 now.
Well, the Diamondbacks seemed to feel like they were going to have a much better approach against Jhoulys Chacín tonight. I'll tell you, the game in San Diego, there wasn't much you could do. He was executing his pitches so well, commanding them so well. He rarely made a mistake in the middle of the plate where the Diamondbacks could even put a good swing on it.
Yeah, Chacín said he was able to go so deep into that game. Remember, he retired the final 14 batters he faced because he threw all of his pitches. The sinker was really working, as we've mentioned. He was able to throw that sinker for strikes, and when he got that going, then came the slider and the changeup and the curveball, and he really had a perfect four-pitch mix. But for him, it all works off that two-seam fastball.
Now you can tell if a guy has been dominating by where are the outs made. Of the 24 outs he got in San Diego, 15 of them never left the infield. Either a strikeout, a pop-up, or a ground out. A lot of weak contact.
Yeah, if he missed his spot last week, he didn't miss by very much. He missed where he wanted to miss. And, you know, that means sinker down, slider down, or off the plate. Andy Green was just thrilled with Chacín, especially the way he was dotting up that fastball all night long last week. And when he wasn't getting it, it was just an inch or so off the plate. CO waited on that breaking ball. Sliders fouled off, and it stays 2-2.
Now all these platitudes we're heaping on Chacín. Keep in mind they were at Petco Park, where he's 2-0 and has yet to give up an earned run this year. On the road, he's 0-2 with an ERA of nearly 13.
Yeah, he has lost both his road starts this year and given up 13 runs in less than nine innings of work away from Petco Park. The rookie Austin Hedges behind the plate. And Owings strikes out, 2 down. Our eye on defense for the Padres, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Manuel Margot out in center field. He'll be flanked by Jabari Blash. Doesn't that sound like a carbonated drink?
I'll have a diet Jabari Blash
to go. Hunter Renfroe over in right field. Ryan Schimpf and Eric Ibar on the left side of the infield. Yangervis Solarte and Will Myers on the right side. Austin Hedges doing the catching, and right-hander Jhoulys Chacín on the mound.
Another defensive shift by San Diego as Jake Lamb, the cleanup man, steps in. First pitch swinging, bounces it into the shift. Solarte there. That's a second base ground out 4-3 putout. But Peralta's third, the fourth consecutive game the Diamondbacks have hit a first-inning home run, and it makes it 1-0 Arizona.
Back with you. Shelby Miller, he left the game yesterday here against the Dodgers. Never want to hear that, but right forearm tightness, had an MRI today, and in fact it is right elbow inflammation. He will get a second opinion in Los Angeles tomorrow. Dr. Neil Elatrash will give him that second opinion, and Shelby Miller, Torey Lovullo not really giving any more information on this injury quite yet until they get that second opinion. But of course you never want to hear that because it could potentially mean elbow issues for Shelby. And Torey Lovullo is saying someone else will have to step up. They are talking right now about other options for Friday's start, which could include Archie Bradley. Guys.
Thank you, Jody. We're hoping for the best for Shelby, who's here tonight, and will go to LA tomorrow to get a second opinion. Ryan Schimpf, the third baseman now. Diamondbacks have the shift on. But it was forearm tightness yesterday, and placed on the 10-day DL today with elbow inflammation, and we'll hope for the best.
That was a big topic of conversation this afternoon, knowing that Shelby was going to be out for at least a little while. And is it Archie Bradley that's going to take his spot in the rotation? Is somebody going to come up from the minor leagues? A lot of different options for the front office and Torey Lovullo, and I'm sure they're exploring all of those options.
Jared Porter and Mike Hazen just stand to our left. There's Shelby. Hair game is still strong.
Really strong.
Yeah. In the meantime, Silvino Bracho has been called up from AAA Reno. He's in the bullpen tonight. And Silvino's been terrific down there for the Aces. Got a couple of saves. And we'll see who starts the game on Friday as we open up a big 3-game set against the first place Rockies. Rockies are beaten up on the Washington Nationals tonight. Well, it's only 1-0 in the 5th inning. Ryan Schimpf off to a remarkably slow start. We saw the batting average 109. He is 6 for 55 this year. 6 hits all season, but half of them are home runs. So he's still dangerous. He hit safely in his first 2 games this year. But since then, Ryan Schimpf has gone 3 for 48. And in those 48 at bats, he struck out 20 times. The powerful Jabari Blash is on deck. 2-2 on the Padre third baseman. Called strike 3. Adrian Johnson rings him up. That's 3 strikeouts in the first 6 batters for Zach Greinke.
Left fielder number 32, Jabari Blash.
You got the benefit of the doubt there from your Guy AJ behind the plate.
What I like about AJ is it's a definitive call. Like there's no guesswork up here.
A lot of late movement on that fastball, tailing away from the left-handed hitter.
Jabari Blash, the left fielder. He was called up from the minor leagues today. Travis Jankowski went on the 10-day disabled list. He's got a bone bruise on his right foot. This is Blash's second season, a former Rule 5 pick. He's been up in the big leagues, or he was up in the big leagues for about a week earlier this month before he was returned to AAA El Paso, where he's hit 2 home runs. He's a big dude, 6'5", 235. And is late to baseball, grew up in the U.S. Virgin Islands. There's a lot of potential here, but so far it's been just that.
I'll tell you something, he puts on a show in batting practice.
He has got tremendous power.
He was hitting balls up in Friday's Front Row Sports Grill, just flipping them out there.
Yeah, the way that Andy Green described it was an obscene amount of power. When he runs into a baseball, it's a lot of damage, kind of like Mark McGwire used to do back in the day, the Padres bench coach. But the problem has been hitting the ball. He doesn't do it very often. A lot of strikeouts like that. 2-2. Blash last season only got 71 at bats in the big leagues. Hit 3 home runs. Speaking of home runs, there's Eric Ibar. He's on deck. Fastball away, missed. The count is full, 3-2. Blash was a Rule 5 pick last year. Got designated for assignment in the middle of May, cleared waivers, so San Diego was able to keep him in its minor league system. And now he's back this year. Zach Greinke, a 1-2-3 second. He has set down 4 in a row. He's got 4 strikeouts. And the Diamondbacks, after David Peralta's first inning homer, have a 1-0 lead here at Chase Field. Peralta, a solo homer in the first inning. BB, before we start the bottom of the second, it's time for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Pretty easy tonight. Just flip the script. We talked about the great pitchers duel in San Diego. Ultimately, the home run by Eric Ibar in the 8th inning against Zach Greinke, the only blemish in the ball game, and David Peralta's already gone deep. So now if we can just get zeros on the board the rest of the game, we will flip the script.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 1-0. That was the score last week. First time in Diamondback history they have hit first inning home runs in 4 consecutive games. The third of the year for Peralta. It's 1-0. Here's Yasmani Tomas, and he takes strike 1. Yasmani, .290. He's homered 4 times. Struck out as a pinch hitter yesterday. That snapped a 4-game hitting streak. Austin Hedges just pulled a Yasmani Grandal and appealed to the wrong base.
You know, I was thinking about that on my drive home last night. Believe it or not, I think what they're doing is pointing at the bat and then asking the umpire. That's
I'm not buying it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
The bat happens to be in that general direction. Little squib shot to second for Solarte.
Oh, whatever it is, it's funny.
And apparently it's catching as well. Brandon Drury now. Brandon in there at 274. 0 for 4 yesterday against the Dodgers. That snapped a 3-game hit streak. That's out of play. Hey, fans, get the best seats for the lowest price with a D-backs mini plan. You can choose from any game this season, including this weekend's matchup against the first place Colorado Rockies, or the Pirate Series coming up in the middle of next month, or the Cubs in August. Get your tickets at D-backs mini plan at dbacks.com. 1-1 on Brandon Drury. Brandon trying to get that bat going. He's been a very effective hitter here at Chase Field dating back to last year. In fact, since the All-Star break, he's hit better than .380 at home. That's the highest mark in the major leagues over that span. Takes a close one there for a ball, and it's 2-1. Breaking ball, dropped it in there for a strike. That's the Chacin slider. It's kind of a slow, loopy slider. 2-2. Well, there is no such thing as a fastball count anymore. Threw that on a 2-1 pitch. Fooled Brandon just a bit. You could see him buckle there for a moment. Tries to go fastball away and misses, and it's a full count, 3-2.
You know, that used to be the hitter's edge. If you could work the count to 2-0 or 3-1, you could be pretty sure you were going to get a fastball. But the way pitchers pitch nowadays, you really need all the sabermetric stats you can get your hands on to see what pitch guys like to throw in certain counts to right-handed batters that are similar to you, and then maybe you have a better chance of anticipating what's coming.
Yeah, if a guy has a changeup he trusts or a breaking ball, he'll throw that. 2-0, 2-1. The first baseman tonight is Chris Herman, the Herminator, as Goldie gets his first day off of the year. Chris 200 with a home run. There's the overshift by the Padres. Myers holds Drury on the bag at first. Eric Ibar, the shortstop, all by himself. Foot on the grass on the left-hand side. There's that curveball from Yolis Chacin at 76 miles an hour, and it's 0-1. That curveball, 4 or 5 miles an hour slower than the slider.
Well, Zach Greinke's thrown a couple of curveballs in this game already that registered at 69.4 miles per hour. And on game day, I know a lot of fans follow the Diamondbacks on game day. It registered as an eephus pitch.
The old Bill Lee Rip Sewell pitch. Well, that's a new little wrinkle for Zach against these Padres. I imagine you got to think of something when you're facing a team like this for the second time in less than a week.
Yeah, we had this a lot in the last week here, facing teams back-to-back on the road and at home, and it's always that age-old question: should you change if you've had success, knowing that they're probably going to try to adjust against you? And Zach Greinke, he just needs to execute his pitches the way he did in San Diego and the way he's done so far tonight.
Eric Ibar, the shortstop, with Drury at first, is really close to that second base bag. So look how wide open the left side of the field is for Herman here. All kinds of room over there.
Yeah, a lot of room on the left side on the ground, and in the outfield he's got a lot of room down that right field line. Look how far over into the gap Hunter Renfroe is. I mean, he's playing straight up in right center field.
Got the infield playing one way and the outfield playing another. Chris had a homer off Kenta Maeda of the Dodgers in Saturday's win over LA here. Singled in yesterday's game. Another fastball inside from Chacin, and once again he missed inside, so it's a full count, 3-2. Back-to-back full counts for Chacin. The catcher Jeff Mathis on deck. Myers still holds Drury on the bag at first. Brandon takes off for second, and Herman looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Drury's in there with a stolen base, his first this year. Second strikeout for Yolis Chacin.
It results in a strikeout at the plate, but a good pitch to run on for Brandon Drury. A slow breaking ball. Throw gets away out there at second base, but not far enough to advance another 90 feet. But now Drury in scoring position for Jeff Mathis.
Jeff batting 139 on the year. It's been slow going as of late. Oh for 4 with 4 strikeouts in the Dodgers series. His at-bats have been pretty quick this year. Jeff is only seeing about 3 pitches per plate appearance. Sees 2 this time. Chops it to Schimpf at third. And that ends the inning. We'll head to the third in downtown Phoenix. The D-backs lead the Padres 1-0. Backs games on TV. You can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go, as Eric Ibar steps up to the plate to lead off the third. Ibar, of course, had the big home run in the 8th inning last week at Petco Park against Zach Greinke, and that proved to be the only run of the game in a 1-0 San Diego win. And it looked a little something like this on a 3-2 pitch. You see Zach's reaction right away. There goes the 0-0 game.
Well, the really unfortunate thing is the pitch before was a curveball that looked like it was all over the outside corner at the knees and did not get the call. They had to throw one more pitch, and Ibar hit it out of the ballpark.
Ibar, in his dozen games prior to hitting that home run off Greinke, had been just 2 for 32 at the plate, but the home run seems to have woken up the bat a bit. He's hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. Bidding for another one here. It backs up Peralta at the track. He's at the wall, and he's got room. 5 in a row set down by Greinke. 1 down in the third.
I'll tell you what, Eric Ibar has proved to me he's pretty quick inside. I don't know if I'd go back in there again. Just missed one there.
Sure did. Yoelis Chacin, the pitcher. Chacin singled against Zach Greinke, his first at bat last Wednesday at Petco Park. Ooh. They just had to put Travis Jankowski on the 10-day DL after he did that to his right foot last week. And now they'll come out and have a look at Chacin, who was holding on to that left foot.
Fastball in, just bangs it off that left foot.
Here's what it sounds like.
When he swings,
That's his landing foot out there on the mound when he's pitching. Looks like he wants to keep on going here. Try to walk it off.
Well, as you said, that doesn't stop hurting after a minute or two, right?
No. It'll stop hurting in November. It has to be a little funny for the head athletic trainer for the Padres. That's Mark Rogow there on the right. He used to work with Navy SEALs. So a foul ball off the foot. Come on.
He probably doesn't have a lot of sympathy.
No.
Yeah, I saw him before the game. They were making a bunch of the Padres run around the field holding an inflatable boat over their heads. And I wondered what that was about. He was spraying them in the face with a hose.
They were out in the pool underwater.
Yeah. That's, wow, that's a pretty rigorous program they have here. Now I know why. Here's the 0-2. Sure enough, Chacin, who had a base hit against Greinke last week, has a broken bat single up the middle as he limps to first. Second hit for the Padres.
His center cut fastball hit it right off the end of the bat, but you can see how wide apart the Diamondbacks defenders are up the middle of the field, and that's right where he hits it.
Center fielder Manuel Margot, who struck out to lead off the ball game. Second time through the order now for Zach Greinke. There's strike one, a fastball. Margot's not a big guy, 5'11", 180, but he's got some pop, Andy Green says. He does have 3 home runs. And they think eventually he'll become a guy who will start driving balls out of the ballpark. He's only 22. 0-2. But right now he's been splitting line drives through the right side of the field pretty consistently. But eventually he's going to start pulling some baseballs hard. Very promising prospect. Part of the package the Padres got from Boston in the Craig Kimbrell deal, and he drops that into center. A pair of 1-out singles for the Padres.
First baseman, Will Myers.
Pitch just off the plate, low and away. Back-to-back base hits on 0-2 counts against Zach Greinke.
Of course, Margot came up in the Red Sox system, so Mike Hazen and Jared Porter, they're very familiar with Manuel Margot. These are the guys that developed him in the Red Sox minor league organization. Mike Hazen, the GM, in the middle there. Jared Porter on the right. Will Myers grounded out his first time up. Fastball away, missed, 1-0. Boy, Myers just had an 11-game hitting streak snapped over the weekend. He had 8 extra base hits during that streak, but he's hit safely the last 2 games after the streak ended, so he's picked right back up where he left off. 40 pitches for Zach, 28 strikes. He's behind 2-0.
And still no tape on the fingers of Will Myers. He doesn't use batting gloves. He grabs a handful of dirt right there. He's got some pine tar on the handle of that bat. And we had commented in the past when he takes a lot of extra batting practice, he gets some blisters and some calluses and tapes up his fingers. And I mentioned that to Chris Owings in the dugout before the game today, and CO said he looks like a lineman when he is taking a lot of extra BP. He wears that tape around his fingers. He looks like a defensive lineman.
Well, he's had a lot of sacks against the Diamondbacks. Will Myers, 38 career games against the D-backs. He's got 50 hits, including 5 home runs. He's a .360 career hitter. And that average jumps up to .371 here at Chase Field for his career. So he loves to hit against the D-backs, and he's done very well in this ballpark. He's ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Chaseen the pitcher at second, and the speedy Margot at first. That fastball's in there, 2-2. Seen Zach so far vary that speed on his fastball. You know, some 88, 89, some more 92-ish.
He's at 92 a few times in the game tonight. Puts a little extra on it, trying to dot that outside corner or come inside on a right-handed hitter.
Solarte, who singled his first time up, is on deck. Full count, 3-2 on Will Myers. Padres with 3 hits so far, all singles. Zach not feeling it that time. Mathis will run through the signs again.
Looks like he's indicating he's having some trouble seeing the signs.
Struck him out. 5 strikeouts for Zach Greinke. That's a big one there. 2 down.
Zach has actually had his way with Will Myers, one of the best hitters in the league, but Will Myers now 4 for 28 lifetime against Greinke.
Well, 1 more out to get it. Solarte. 2 on and 2 out. A single toward the right field corner, a ball that was well hit against Greinke his first time up. Peralta was able to get out there and cut it off and hold him to a long single. He was stranded at first. Ball 1.
You mentioned Zach changing speeds on his fastball today from 88 to 92. He's done the same thing with his slider. I think a guy like Zach Greinke, who relies on moving the ball around, adding and subtracting a little bit, is what really makes him effective. You know, you may guess right. I'm looking slider. He may throw you a slider, but it's a couple miles an hour slower than you were anticipating. You get that soft contact that he's constantly looking for.
Well, Zach, that start last week at Petco Park came right after he was hit hard at Dodger Stadium his previous time out. 5 runs, 10 hits in 5 innings. He said against the Padres, yeah, he tried to make some adjustments, but really didn't do too much different in that start at San Diego last week. It's just that his command got a lot better. He said his command last week against these guys was probably the best he's had. Hard foul, and it's 1-2. Another slider that time.
That was one of those sliders, hit or be hit. That was really working its way inside, and Solarte just snapped the bat head way out in front of home plate that time and hit it in the hot dog stand.
Got a little moth on the lens there. Greinke ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. In the dirt. Bury that slider, and it's 2-2. Hunter Renfroe, power hitting rookie on deck.
I say it all the time, 2-2 counts with 2 outs in the inning and runners on base. You really want to make something happen right here. You've got the pitcher running out there at second base with a sore foot.
Base clogger.
You don't want to give him any head start on a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs in the inning.
Margot has really good speed at first. A ground ball. Drury's got to go a long way over there to get it. He's got no play. The shift was on. It was sort of shaded toward the right field line, and Brandon just had too far to go to get to that one. And so the Padres with 2 down will have the bases loaded for the rookie Renfroe.
That's another one of those plays. It'll show up in the box score as an infield hit for Yangervis Solarte, but Brandon Drury just saved a run right there. Get dirty, stop that ball, keep it close, so if that runner at second tries to score, you've got a chance to throw him out at home plate.
Renfroe struck out to end the first. Renfroe is aggressive up there. He's looking fastballs. He doesn't like to get behind in counts. Takes that fastball down and in for ball 1. Elise Chacin, the pitcher, is at third. Manuel Margot at second, and Yangervis Solarte at first. Fastball's in there, says Adrian Johnson. 1-1. Renfroe thought that may have been a bit off the plate. Same spot, same pitch, same velocity. It's 1-2. Now he's got him set up. Greinke, when he's behind in the count this season, will often throw an off-speed pitch. He's ahead here, 1-2. Let's see what he likes to do. He's caught Renfroe looking at 2 fastballs so far. Coming in. Land at third. Zach Greinke leaves him loaded. He keeps it 1-0 D-backs.
Jam early for Zach Greinke tonight. Bases loaded, had to face Hunter Renfroe, the good-looking young hitter. Missed down and in with a fastball, and then gets a huge benefit of the doubt on 2 heaters away. Comes right back inside with another fastball. In Renfroe's first at bat of the game, Zach only threw him 1 fastball in the 5 pitches. Threw him some sliders, threw him a curveball. That time came right after him with fastballs, and a very wide strike zone. That'll work.
That helped, but a really good job of getting that last fastball in there. He didn't miss, leave it out over the plate. He really just dug it down and in. Not much Renfroe could do with that. And now Greinke will lead off the home half of the third against Jhoulys Chacín. 1-0 Diamondbacks. David Peralta, a first inning home run, his third of the year. And the fourth consecutive game in which the D-backs have hit a first inning home run. That's a new franchise record. Boy, David's bat has been absolutely electric lately. Peralta now has 15 hits in his last 28 at bats.
Ooh, wow.
Breaking ball got away from Chacín, and it's 1-1. Nationals have come back against the Rockies at Coors Field. Washington now leads that one 4-1. They're in the sixth. D-backs began play today, game and a half behind Colorado for the NL West lead. Rockies are in here this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Should be a fun series. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. We'll see you down here at Chase Field. Swing and a miss. Third strikeout for Chacín.
Hey fans, anytime a D-back hits a home run, it means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink. So hey, have one on David.
A.J. Pollock. A.J. grounded out to third his first time up. Mention how hot Peralta is. Pollock is just as hot. A.J.'s got a 6-game hitting streak. 5 of those are multi-hit games. And as he steps in right here, he's got 14 hits in his last 28 at bats. So he's been a .500 hitter over the last week. But he's done very well in these counts. He's hitting .361 with 2 strikes, which is the best 2-strike batting average in the major leagues. Bidding for another one here. Renfroe just shy of the track has it. 2 outs. David Peralta, the freight train. 4th consecutive game the Diamondbacks have hit a first inning home run. Carves it the other way in the first.
Chacín didn't even want to turn around and watch that one. He knew from the sound off the bat that was going to be trouble in the gap. Just snuck it over the fence out there in left center.
You know, that's been a real key for David lately. Consistently going to left field, especially against right-hand pitchers. They've worked David away a lot. And he's gone the other way a lot against righties. There's a look at the defensive overshift. And he goes the other way again, but hits it right at Blash, who misjudges the ball and recovers to get the out. That almost dropped in. 5 in a row set down by Chacín, but the D-backs lead it 1-0. Tonight, the Brewers' Eric Thames, who is just ridiculous. He homered in his first 2 at-bats tonight against the Reds at Miller Park. Numbers 9 and 10 on the year. It's April 24th. This guy's got 10 home runs.
Goes Oppo this time.
He's been playing in Korea the last few years, where he's hit a bunch of homers, and he's doing the same in Milwaukee. Austin Hedges, the catcher, leads off the 4th against Zach Greinke. That is a showstopper.
Wow.
Hedges grounded out his first time up.
It would be interesting to see if opposing pitchers can find a hole in that swing. Just from those highlights we showed you, he's quick enough to pull a ball to right field if you try to come in, strong enough to go the opposite way if you try to go away from him. There's got to be a hole there somewhere.
He's like Chris Carter without the strikeouts. Well, Hedges has shown some power lately, the rookie catcher. He's got 5 home runs this year. In fact, all 5 of his homers have come in his last 8 games. Hedges hit homers in 3 consecutive games last week. So he can take you deep. He's ahead 2 balls and a strike. That's what Greinke's been doing a lot of lately, behind in the count, as we mentioned a moment ago, going to the breaking ball. In fact, he's done that more than 60% of the time this year. There's a big loopy curveball.
Big over the top curve.
Only 2 pitchers in baseball do that more often when they're behind in the count than Zach Greinke. And he backs it up with a fastball and gets his 6th strikeout.
It looked like it'd be a slider there at 86, just off that outside corner. There's such a subtle difference between his slider and his cut fastball. Sometimes they kind of blend together. The velocities are almost the same. Fastball a little bit harder, but a lot of the same movement.
And he's got that changeup in the high 80s oftentimes too. Here's Ryan Schimpf. Shift is on. There's strike 1. Schimpf struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Boy, 6 for 56. You ever go 6 for 56?
I'm sure I did.
No. That's what Ryan Schimpf is this year as he steps in right now. Can't check his swing, and it's 0-2. The other thing about Ryan Schimpf is, remember, he won the 3rd base job this spring over their former 1st-round pick Corey Spangenberg. Well, Schimpf is going 6 for 56. Spangenberg's in the Coast League, and he's hitting .370 at El Paso. So they may have to make a move sooner or later at 3rd base.
Yeah, really, the one saving grace for Ryan Schimpf is he's been taking some walks. He's 2nd in the National League to Bryce Harper and Paul Goldschmidt in walks. But boy, when you're struggling to make contact the way Schimpf has been, you wonder how long it'll be until they decide to make a move.
21 strikeouts in his last 49 at bats. And down 0-2 against Zach Greinke. This is a guy who in half a season with San Diego last year hit 20 home runs. Fastball in, missed. Mathis wanted it up. Greinke got it in, and it's 1-2. 63 pitches for Zach, 43 for strikes. He has given up 4 hits, all singles. He's got 6 strikeouts. The powerful Jabari Blash is on deck. Just called up for the minors today. Chip hits it hard but foul. Thing about Ryan Schimpf, came up in mid-season last year, little second baseman, 5'0", nobody'd ever heard of him. But he wound up with 42 of his 60 hits last year for extra bases. So he had a slugging percentage of .533, which is the same as guys like Mark Trumbo and Robinson Cano. So he was doing damage at that kind of level for half a year last year, after spending 8 seasons in the minors.
Oh shit!
Bidding for one, and it's drifting foul. Hey fans, tomorrow, Twitter Tuesday. I can't believe what I'm reading here. Brandon Webb will be taking over Fox Sports Arizona's Twitter account. Did they know about this? Well, they must. They built a graphic and everything. So Webby will be taking over Fox Sports Arizona's Twitter account tomorrow, answering all your questions during innings 3 through 5. And you can connect with Webby on the Twitter at Fox Sports Arizona, which is at Fox Sports AZ. Twitter Tuesday coming up tomorrow. 9th pitch of the at-bat on the way. The longest at-bat Greinke has had here in his last 2 starts. So Schimpf is putting up a fight. 3-2 pitch. Got him. 7 strikeouts for Greinke. 2 down. Second time he's got Schimpf looking.
Assortment of pitches on the inside part of the plate, and the final pitch goes up and away, but just nips that outside edge of the strike zone. Boy, Schimpf was really geared inside, pulled a couple balls hard, foul down the first baseline. Zach had him set up and put him away with a fastball away.
Well, we got another 1-0 pitchers duel on our hands here. So far, Yolis Chacin has given up only 1 hit, the Peralta homer in the first. Padres have 4 hits, all singles. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Blasch struck out his first time up. Travis Jankowski, if you're just joining us, placed on the 10-day disabled list today with a bone bruise in his right foot. So Blasch was called up from AAA El Paso, where he's homered twice this year. That one missed. It's 2-1. Jake Lamb at third. Sets himself and throws. Herman is there. 4 in a row set down by Greinke at 1-2-3-4. He leads it 1-0.
Nothing in San Diego against Yolis Chacin. They knew he'd be around the zone, so a lot of the players talking about the fact that they were swinging earlier, they were being aggressive, but he had good command of his pitches. So next thing you know, it's 1-0, and they're in the 8th inning, and Chacin goes 8. And the talk in the clubhouse today, guys, was to see more pitches, let him maybe make a mistake or two, but again, his command's pretty good. 37 pitches through 3 innings. I have a feeling they're going to want to work that pitch count up, though.
Yeah, he is winning the efficiency battle so far, with Greinke over 70 pitches through 4. But the Diamondbacks have the 1-0 lead on the Peralta homer, as Chris Owings batting third tonight, with Goldie getting the night off. Leads it off. CO struck out his first time up. Chris has more than held his own against right-hand pitching this year. He's hitting just over 300 versus righties. And he's got a very good line drive rate against right-handers. In fact, the best in baseball, close to double league average. The number of line drives against right-hand pitchers off the bat of Chris Owings. Greinke at 72 pitches. Chacin now. He's worked 1 inning less, but he's only at 40. 40 pitches, 27 strikes. Jake Lamb on deck. Up the middle, Ibar behind the bag, can't get there, and it rolls into center. A leadoff single for Chris Owings, second hit tonight for the Diamondbacks.
Very well placed, just a little topspin grounder back up the middle of the field. Ibar was cheating over in the hole just a little bit for Chris Owings. It's on top of that high fastball, kind of smothers it to the left side. You can see Ibar cheating toward the hole, and that one just gets by into center field for a base hit. Shift beater.
They'll put the shift back on now as Jake Lamb steps up. Ibar midway between second and third on the left-hand side with a foot on the grass. Jake rounded out his first time up. Hit it right into that shift on the first pitch. That one rolls away from Hedges, but Owings stays put. Jake Lamb, 18 RBIs, third most in the major leagues. 3 hits, including a double yesterday against LA. Jake's now got a 7-game hitting streak. And if he gets a base hit right here, I will be up to 6 on Beat the Streak.
Ooh.
I already got halfway there with a freight train. I'm on the freight train.
Me too.
Yep, good call. Puts it right into the shift again. Tricky double play. Solarte, they'll settle for 1. Ryan Schimpf, the third baseman, in the second base spot that time. So that's a 4-5 put out at second base if you're scoring at home.
I think umpires are going to keep a closer eye on slides at second base after what happened to Dustin Pedroia against the Orioles the other day, and that time Chris Owings straight into the bag.
Well, Manny Machado came in cleats up like Ty Cobb and spiked the back of Petey's leg, which has caused some problems. Matt Barnes, the Red Sox pitcher, then threw at Machado, got himself a 4-game suspension today. Yasmani Tomas. Matt Barnes was a teammate of Nick Ahmed's at UConn. Tomas grounded out his first time up. Plate appearances for Yasmani have been a little brief lately. He's averaging fewer than 3 pitches per plate appearance over the last week or so. But he's ahead here, 1-0.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Chris Iannetta, Daniel Descalso. Some yucks in the D-backs dugout.
I tell you, Chacin got away with one right there. A hanging breaking ball to Tomas. Took a big swing to foul it away.
And there's the requisite throw to first with Jake Lamb on the bag. So I'd love to read that scouting report that keeps floating around out there. Every time Jake is on first, they act like it's Lou Brock down there.
It's funny how teams will overreact to things they see one time. If a guy tries to bunt for a base hit one time, the third baseman will play in every at bat.
Long set by Chacin. Slider missed, and it's 2-1 on Tomas. Here's a stat for you.
Okay.
Jake Lamb this season, and it just went up, but going into the game tonight, 13 pickoff attempts against him at first base. Out of 429 players in the majors, that ranks him 35th.
Wow. I didn't know we kept track of that.
Oh, we keep track of everything. Tomas, fair ball down the left field line. Now we'll see how fast Lamb can run. Tony Chica windmills him around third, and he will score. 2-0 Diamondbacks. The RBI double for El Tanque as Manny Tomas. That's his 6th double this year.
Another hanging slider. Look at that thing just spinning up there on the inside part of the plate about letter high, and Tomas just tomahawks it down into that left field corner. Run, Jake, run.
I mean, Lamb's not even at second base, and Tony Chica's waving him home as Blosh was slow to dig it out of that left field corner. Brandon Drury walked his first time up. 2-0 D-backs. Looks at a fastball, and it's 1-1. Well, they've already scored 2 more runs against Ulysses Chacín than they scored last Wednesday at Petco Park. Chacín working a little more here in the inning. 50 pitches now, 32 for strikes. Greinke just over 70 pitches for the ball game. Another fastball's in there. 1-2.
Yeah, we saw that slider that he hung to Yasmani Tomas. I don't think he made one pitch that bad in San Diego.
Oh, his command was outstanding.
Well, that's what you have to do against good pitchers. Take advantage of mistakes. And you heard Jody talking about it earlier, trying to work some deeper counts and give Chacín an opportunity to make a mistake.
Got him. Tomas picked off second. Tom Woodring, the umpire out there. Torey Lovullo with a hand up on the top step of the dugout as they get on the phone with Alan Campbell, the video coordinator.
Quick feet by Chacín right there to spin around, put that throw right on the shortstop side of the bag. All Solarte had to do was catch it, it appeared.
Yeah, he's out.
They got him.
No challenge from the Diamondbacks. Base is empty, 2 outs now, and a 1-2 count on Brandon Drury. And he looks at a fastball for strike 3. 95 from Chacín, but Tomas, an RBI double, makes it 2-0 D-backs.
2-0 as we head to the top half of the fifth. Time to take a look back at Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. On this date in 1956, Frank Umont becomes the first umpire to wear glasses during a regular season game.
Boy, why am I not surprised you picked this one? I believe we have some photos of Frank back in the day trying on those glasses.
Now, as you can imagine, he took some heat from the fans. The first umpire to ever wear glasses during a game, and the fans were on him pretty hard. I imagine some of the players were on him pretty good, but boy, that's a bad look. He was a former tackle for the New York Giants, so I don't think he took too much from the players. He might have had to listen to it from the fans, but he was a big man.
The New York Football Giants. Eric Ibar leads off the fifth against Zach Greinke, who now has a 2-0 lead. Foul ground near the D-backs dugout, and Jake Lamb. Oh, it's off the glove. Chris Iannetta had a front row seat for that one. No play on that.
Oh, I'm sure Jake will tell you he should have had that one. Not an easy play by any stretch of the imagination, but he got glove on it over there. Just kind of hit the heel of the glove, rolled through the pocket and out the webbing.
We were looking at some pictures of your boy Frank there, and we saw one of him umpiring in that great 1967 World Series, the Cardinals and the Red Sox.
What did the caption say? Issuing a warning?
Yeah, there was a picture of him with Shane Dienst and Dick Williams out there, the two skippers, and they had apparently some issues in the first inning, so both benches got warned in that game. The World Series. Cardinals 1-7.
For me, Ibar is just to pitch him away, play him away, throw him up and out over the plate, let him see how far he can hit it to left field, and let Tomas catch it, and you got one out.
Well, they go away and strike him out. That's 8 strikeouts for Zach Greinke. He's retired 5 in a row. Well, it's a good example of what you were just talking about.
I mean, you know, there are guys that can drive the ball to the opposite field with authority, especially if they hit it in the air. We saw David Peralta drive a ball to the opposite field with authority earlier in the ball game. But for some of those middle infield type guys, their best shot is not going to reach medium deep left field. So pitch them up and out over the plate, let them hit it as hard as they can.
The pitcher Chacin, who bounced a broken bat dribbler up the middle for a single in the third. Greinke's now struck out 3 the last 4 Padres he's faced. Opener of a 4-game series here at Chase Field. Patrick Corbin gets the baseball tomorrow night against lefty Clayton Richard. Another rematch from that 3-game set in San Diego last week.
And the roof is scheduled to be open all week long.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be beautiful out here. This is the place to be.
Get your tickets at dbacks.com. This long homestand continues. Waves at a slider, and it's 2-2.
Now it is supposed to get a little breezy, and we saw in the first homestand of the year when the roof is open, the panels are closed, and the wind is blowing. It's an adventure for the outfielders here at Chase Field. The ball was doing all kinds of funny things when it was hit to the outfield.
That wind gets in here with the panels shut, and it just swirls. Well, Greinke's got another strikeout. That's 9, and he struck out 4 the last 5. Brings up Manuel Margot, who has one of the Padres' 4 hits. A single in the third. Greinke has had 2 strikeouts in 4 of the 5 innings so far tonight. Hard to shortstop. First pitch right to Chris Owings. And Zach Greinke has set down 7 straight. He leads it 2-0.
We're giving Yaz a day off after 2 home runs and Goldie a day off after he hits a home run. But these things were talked about with players one-on-one between myself and them, and it's written down on a piece of paper in my office that these were going to be days that they're going to have down. So because there's a strategy to what we do here, and I believe in that, and once it's written down and they know it, I'm not going to change the script.
Torey Lovullo very good about giving his players advance notice when they're going to have a day off. And as you heard him say, he usually scripts that out a few days ahead of time. And this was Goldie's day, so Chris Herman is the first baseman tonight. Paul Goldschmidt has the night off. Herman struck out his first time up.
I'm not sure how Goldie is as a bench warmer, but I know there were guys that when you took him out of the starting lineup and sat him on the bench, the rest of the guys on the bench said, please put him back in the lineup. All that nervous energy that they burn off on the field as a player, they just walking up and down the dugout, bugging their teammates and bugging Torey. Hey, I pinch hit at bat right here, right here.
Well, he generally doesn't do that. If he gives the guy the day, usually make sure he gets the whole game unless he's really needed. Bounce to first for Will Myers. Let's go down to Jody.
Chris Herman filling in today for Paul Goldschmidt, and Chris told me before the game he had some butterflies. His first major league start at first base. He's made 4 appearances there over the last 2 years, just coming into games, but he said he was looking forward to it. He was prepared. He was at that spot in spring, of course, and any chance he's looking to get on a roll at the plate, so he's looking for that playing time, guys.
I've seen Chris make starts in left field and obviously behind the plate. And tonight at first, here's Jeff Mathis, who grounded out his first time up.
Yeah, Chris was out here early with Tony Perez-Chica this afternoon, and Chris was positioned at first base, and Tony was standing out near second base hitting fungos to simulate throws in the dirt. 1 hoppers and 2 hoppers, and some hit hard, some hit soft, so Chris could get used to picking that ball out of the dirt over there at first base. So far, so good.
Well, it's that versatility from Chris Herman that allows the Diamondbacks to carry 3 catchers. So you got to utilize it when you can. Slider missed up, and it's 2-1 on Mathis. Good take there by Jeff. He's had some trouble lately laying off curveballs and sliders, especially against righties. Went right back to the slider and dropped it in. It's 2-2. Chacin very efficient again. 60 pitches, 39 strikes. And he finishes him off with a fastball for his 5th strikeout.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
2 down for Zach Greinke, a strikeout victim his first time up. That game in Colorado's gone back and forth. It was 1-0 Rockies, then it was 4-1 Nationals. Now Colorado leads Washington 5-4. They're in the 8th inning. Giants and Dodgers opening up a 4-game set in San Francisco tonight. Giants lead it 1-0 in the 3rd at AT&T Park. That's Matt Cain against Hyunjin Ryu.
Cubbies put a whooping on the Pirates today, 14-3.
You know, it's funny. I was just looking at that. Cubs won 14-3. Brewers are beating the Reds 11-7. The White Sox beat Kansas City 12-1. A lot of offense today. Greinke bidding for a base hit, and it drops in. Renfroe can't get it, and Zach's got a 2-out single.
These 2 guys pitched extremely well in their head-to-head matchup. They both swung the bat well. Zach Greinke fights off a 94-mile-an-hour fastball inside, drops it in right center field for a 2-out knock.
Renfroe really did a nice job laying out for that one. But now a 2-out base runner for A.J. Pollock, who has grounded out, flying out. He's 0 for 2. A.J. with a 6-game hitting streak on the line tonight. Well, he rarely ever swings at the first pitch of an at bat. He is near the bottom of the major leagues in terms of first pitch swing frequency. Tried to flip the script there, and he's down 0-1.
I've told the story in the past about a teammate of mine, Manny Trio, former Philly second baseman, came to the Giants late in his career, and Manny Trio would go 100 plate appearances just standing there watching the first pitch every time. I mean standing with his bat on his shoulder, taking all the way. Then he would come up to the plate with a runner in scoring position in a close ball game and suddenly drop into that crouch and ambush that first pitch.
Used to see Martin Prado do that a lot here when he was a D-back. 2-1 to Pollock.
With all the advanced scouting, video scouting, just throw the ball down the middle, get ahead. 0-1. He's going to take the first pitch every time and then get up there in the right situation and look first pitch fastball.
Lays off another slider. AJ's ahead 3-1. Peralta, who homered in the first, is on deck. He walked him. A pair of 2-out base runners now for David Peralta. Just the second walk issued by Jhoulys Chacín.
Right fielder, David Peralta.
Greinke at second, Pollock at first. This was Peralta with 1 out in the first inning, his 3rd of the year. Carried out of here, slicing to left center field. Rolls away from Hedges, but everybody has to stay put. 1-1. Line drives over the last week or so off the bat of David Peralta. 15 hits in his last 29 at bats. Here's another one, a base hit into left. They're going to have to stop Greinke at third. The bases are full now for Chris Owings. 3 straight have reached, all with 2 outs.
Chacín has gotten David Peralta to hit the ball to the opposite field all 3 at bats in this game, but 1 left the park, and this one finds a hole on the left side of the infield. Let's take a look at that at bat. Started him with the slider, backdoor slider for a called strike. Pretty good pitch right there. Then he bounces the slider in the dirt, and a straight change up that David stays on. And we talked about it earlier in the game. That left field approach for David has been golden in the early going.
Especially against right-hand pitchers who try to work him away. Peralta now has had multiple hits in 6 of his last 7 games. So he is red hot right now. Bases full, 2 down for Chris Owings, who singled his last time up. Goldie off tonight. CO batting 3rd in the lineup for Torey Lovullo. And a chance to put a big crooked number up here in the 5th. Greinke at 3rd, Pollock at 2nd, Peralta at 1st. CO drives it deep center field. It's gone, a grand slam. Chris Owings, that's his second, and it's 6-0 Diamondbacks. He's in Goldie's spot, and he takes it out of here. Sorry, Lavello knew exactly what he was doing. With one swing, we get you tacos, BB. That's also a jumbo jack.
Yeah.
On to the home run porch in left center field, Chris Owings.
All this started with 2 outs in the inning. Zach Greinke got that base hit to right center field, a walk to A.J. Pollock, the opposite field single by Peralta, and then Chris Owings flexing his muscles as a number 3 hitter.
That's a jumbo jack and tacos. Really, this art class has really been paying off.
I knew that investment in markers would pay off. Oh man, he absolutely crushed this. CO has always been a good high fastball hitter, and that's 92 right in his wheelhouse. Boy, he barreled that one up. Chacin, a similar pose that he had on the David Peralta homer back in the first.
Chris Owings, fastballs up, or even better, fastballs in. He just kills those pitches. And that one's on the home run porch. A jumbo jack, a free jumbo jack tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink. And Ryan Schimpf, the third baseman, picks that one up and throws him out. That ends the inning. But the Diamondbacks get 4, all with 2 outs on the Chris Owings grand slam. They lead the Padres 6-0. Career grand slam for Chris Owings. He's still all smiles out there. How can you blame him? Our Cox high-speed highlight. Zach Greinke so far has got 9 strikeouts. He's given up just 4 hits, all singles, has not walked a batter tonight.
He's had to work hard for the strikeouts tonight. A lot of 5, 6, 1, 9 pitch strikeout, but he's getting it done once again. Stuff looks very crisp, hitting his spots all night long, taking advantage of some of these inexperienced Padres hitters.
And he set down the last 7 batters he's faced. Will Myers leads off the 6th. Zach has had 2 strikeouts in 4 of the 5 innings he's pitched so far. Myers 0 for 2. Now 0-2.
Yeah, in San Diego, Zach struck out 6 Padres in that game, 3 of them on 4 pitches, 2 on 3 pitches, and one time it took 5 pitches to strike out a Padre hitter. Tonight it's been 6-5, 6-6, 6-5, 9-5, 5. So they're making him work a little harder, but he's still getting the desired result.
85 pitches, 58 strikes. And make it 10 strikeouts for Zach Greinke, 1 down in the 6th. He's getting lots of offensive support here. No 1-0 game tonight. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks.
Well, for all those people who were so concerned over Zach Greinke's velocity, and we tried to calm them down, that Zach doesn't rely on velocity. If he gets up to 90, 91, that's going to be good enough with the stuff that he has to retire major league hitters.
Well, Solarte's been the fly in the ointment so far, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, and he looks at that slow curveball for strike 1. Had a shot at Chris Owings there a moment ago. How about this, BB? The Diamondbacks this season, with the bases loaded, are 7 for 16 with 24 RBIs.
Wow.
That includes 5 walks. Solarte a 3 for 3 night. Ends a stretch of 8 straight set down by Greinke.
We just need to load the bases more.
7 for 16 this year with the bases full. 24 runs batted in. First career slam for CO. That'll bring up Hunter Renfroe, who's 0 for 2. And if you're thinking bullpen, there is an extra arm back there now with Shelby Miller on the 10-day disabled list with that elbow inflammation. Silvino Bracho was called up for the ball game today. He's had a good year closing games at AAA Reno, so Bracho is back there in the bullpen mix. Diamondbacks will announce later this week who'll start Friday's game against Colorado in Shelby's spot. Renfroe reaches down and dumps one into left center. Solarte hits for third. 2 on and 1 out for the Padres.
Well, Renfroe really had to go down and dig this one out. That slider was nearly in the dirt at 85. Goes down and gets it off the end of the bat. And another kind of an unnoticed play right here. 1 out in the inning. Yasmani Tomas gets to this ball in the gap in left center. He could have tried to throw the runner out at third, but instead throws to second base, keeps the double play in order.
Not something Yasmani would always do.
No.
In the past, so that's nice to see.
It's just human nature for a left fielder. When you see that guy turn the corner at second base right in front of you, your natural instinct is to try to throw him out at third base, and that batter runner will then move into scoring position at second, takes the double play out of the equation.
Austin Hedges, the catcher, fouls one off his foot. Well, Zach now over 90 pitches. There's some stirring in the bullpen, but no one throwing as of yet. But you can't afford to make a mistake with Hedges. He's hitting only 175 on the year now, in fact 169, but he does have 5 home runs. Hedges homered in 3 consecutive games last week. Each team now with 6 hits. All 6 of San Diego's hits have been singles. Diamondbacks have homered twice. Peralta and Owings. In the air center field, A.J. Pollock, a late break. It's carrying out there, but he's got it. This will get Solarte home from third with the first Padre run, and it's 6-1, the RBI for Hedges.
This is the 25th time in Zach Greinke's career he struck out 10 or more batters. In the previous 24 games when he struck out 10, his team was 21-3.
Well, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Renfroe still at first. A run is in. 2 outs now for Ryan Schimpf, who has twice struck out looking. Schimpf has played just about every day, but he still has only 6 hits all year. He's now batting 105. D-backs have the shift on for Schimpf. Jam shot pop up, and that's going to get out of play. This is about the point in the year where last season Zach Greinke really got it going. You'll recall he had a couple of losses in his first 2 D-back starts, but you throw those out and he had a really impressive run, a stretch of 13 starts from the middle of April all the way to the middle of June last year, and during that stretch he went 10-1 with a 2.85 ERA, and in fact at one point he won 7 consecutive starts. So people look at the numbers for Greinke last year and they go, hey, you know, wasn't that good? Well, he had a 2-month run where he was 10-1. And we've just about reached that point again this year where he started to get it going last season. That stretch included a 3-hit shutout of Tampa Bay here at Chase Field. But then near the end of June, he injured his oblique at the plate and, you know, had to sit out 6 weeks and really wasn't the same guy. Craig Stammen, the right-hander, now warming up for the Padres. Looking for his 11th strikeout tonight. 2-2 to Ryan Schimpf, who's already punched out twice. There goes Renfroe into second, and he's in there with a stolen base, his second this year. Oh, they're saying foul tip. So that's the end of the inning. Schimpf strikes out again, his 3rd punch out tonight. D-backs now lead at 6-1. Leads it off. D-backs lead the Padres 6-1. Our State Farm winning combo this lineup on Goldie's night off. Chris Owings hitting 3rd. He's got 2 hits, including his first career grand slam. The Diamondbacks got 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th, all with 2 outs. And they lead it 6-1. In the meantime, Zach Greinke now has 11 strikeouts, his 25th career game in which he's had at least 10 strikeouts. Tomas rolls one up the middle and into center field, the leadoff single. Asmani has doubled and singled tonight.
I was talking earlier in the ballgame about Jabari Blash and the way he put on a show in batting practice. You should have seen Tomas taking BP today. It actually swayed some of our staff to pick him in the beat the streak.
I saw some celebrations in the booth earlier. I got back on Jake Lamb tonight, but I'm so far 0 for 3 with Jake. I had Peralta on the homer.
I got Peralta and Pollock.
Ooh, so you and I are both hanging by a thread here. Getting late for beat the streak. Brandon Drury has walked and struck out. He's 0 for 1. You can play beat the streak at home along with Bob and I. Just download the app for free on your phone. Just go to the App Store, type in beat the streak, and you get to pick 1 or 2 players, any player, any team, any game, and try to put together a hitting streak. I'm up to a big 4. You are in the stratosphere right now. Lofty perch of Bob Brenly. What are you up to? Like
15.
15. That's ridiculous.
I'm in 3,073rd place.
But there's like 10 million guys doing this, so that's pretty good. I get nervous when I get that close to double digits. I don't know. Are you good? You're still doubling down?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every day.
Shot to third. Schimpf reaches up and snags it. And a really nice play by the Padre third baseman Ryan Schimpf. I mean, he's a little guy down there. He's only 5'9", but he was tall enough.
That's really a couple of good plays right there. Number one, to backpedal and make that leaping stop on that ground ball that looked like it was ticketed for left field. Then he can't get anything on his throw. He's falling backwards. I think Will Myers picked it out of the dirt over there at first base. That's an outstanding defensive play right there.
Backhand pick by Myers at first. Nicely done. Tomas at second now with 1 out. And it's the first baseman tonight, Chris Herman, who's 0 for 2. Hey fans, MLB at Bat, your #1 mobile app for live Arizona Diamondbacks baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Hit D-backs home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast news, the whole thing. Download MLB at Bat today. I have that on my phone. It's awesome.
That's how we follow Beat the Streak when we pick out of town games.
The link goes one to the other. It works really well. You can see the video clips of the hits and stuff. MLB at Bat. 1-1 on Chris Herman. And you can customize it. You know, you can have a D-backs logo on there, all kinds of stuff you can use and download for your phone. Spruce that up a little bit. D-backs have out hit the Padres 7-6. They lead at 6-1. One and two to the Herminator. Chris had a home run in Saturday's win against the Dodgers when he got the start behind the plate, homered off Kenta Maeda. And tonight his first start of the year at first base. Goldie has the night off. Phone starts ringing in the D-backs bullpen. Herman knocks it right through the shift. Tomas had to hold up. Tony Perez-Chica waving him home. Renfroe with a big arm, but he throws it into second. And there's an RBI for Chris Herman at 7-1. Well, Torey Lovullo might be manager of the year. He sits Goldie down for the night. Owings hits a grand slam in Goldie's spot. And Herman, playing first base, comes up with an RBI single.
Door slider. He had to go out a long way to get to that ball and hook it back to the right side, just past Will Myers. Well, we showed you the shift earlier in the ball game against Chris Herman. The infield plays him to pull, the outfield plays him the opposite way, so Hunter Renfroe had a long way to go to get to that ball.
Jeff Mathis 0 for 2. Pitcher spot is up next. Daniel Descalso is in the on-deck circle. There's no one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen that we can see. So we'll see if they hit for Greinke or not. Sanderson Ford bullpen is crickets right now. Mark Reed, bullpen catcher, with the shin guards on in the middle there by the door. He's got nothing to do but watch. Mike Fetter's the bullpen coach on the phone though. 0-2 on Mathis. Sixth strikeout for Chacin. And Descalso will hit for Greinke. So Greinke's night will end here.
Well, Jeff Mathis continues to struggle against good breaking balls, and Chacin threw him a real good slider that time. Just dipped below the knees on that outside corner. Come up with it.
Descalso 143, 5 RBIs. He's 4 for 28 at the plate this year. And he will hit for Greinke. Here's Silvino Bracho warming up. And the Sanderson Ford bullpen just called up from AAA Reno today with Shelby Miller on the 10-day DL with elbow inflammation. So Zach Greinke, what a night. 6 innings, gave up just 1 run on 6 hits. All 6 hits were singles. Did not walk a batter and had 11 strikeouts. First of 4, D-backs and the Padres as this homestand continues. Patrick Corbin versus Clayton Richard tomorrow night. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6 o'clock. First pitch 6:40. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Well, the Rockies have opened up a lead now in Colorado over the Nationals. They trailed at 4-1. They now lead it 8-4 in the 8th inning. Giants are leading the Dodgers, first of a 4-game set in San Francisco. That's 1-0 in the 5th at AT&T Park. Matt Cain and Hyunjin Ryu. Herman takes off. Descalso pops it up. Margot coming in, long run, and he runs it down. But the Diamondbacks add 1 more. Zach Greinke in line for the win. 7-1. Silvino Bracho coming in. The Padres 7-1. CenturyLink, what's next? Here's the rest of the series, a 4-gamer. Tomorrow night, Patrick Corbin and Clayton Richard, the lefty. Former Diamondback great Trevor Cahill faces Taijuan Walker Wednesday. And then Robbie Ray and Jared Weaver. That's an interesting matchup Thursday. One guy throws 95, the other guy throws 75. Our ash line call to the bullpen. Silvino Bracho, just recalled from AAA Reno today, where he's been pitching very well this month. Bracho's 6 appearances with the Aces in the Coast League. He's worked 6 2/3, given up just 4 hits, walked 1 and struck out 12. He's got 2 saves.
You know, face a guy that was just called up from AAA and Jabari Blash. These two may have faced each other. I'm trying to pull up the Aces schedule to see if maybe El Paso and Reno have already hooked up this year.
Blash called up today. Travis Jankowski went on the 10-day DL with a bruised right foot. Blash 0 for 2 with a strikeout against Greinke.
The Reno Aces are actually playing El Paso right now. They dropped the first game of the series 7-1 to El Paso. They won the second game 4-3. They won yesterday 12-1, and they're playing again tonight.
And Zach Godley, I believe, was just named Coast League Pitcher of the Week. Bracho behind 2-0. 24-year-old right-hander from Venezuela. He's got that fastball there, 96. He still is doing that thing we've seen him do, Bob. It used to be 3 steps with that front foot. He's got it down to 2.
Yeah, Silvino scares me a little bit. He's always, I mean, there's nobody on base right now, so you don't have to worry about a balk, but he's got a lot of little twitches, and the glove twitches, and then sets at the waist, and then another glove twitch. You get Joe West or somebody, Bob Davidson out there on the bases, they'll balk runners all the way around against Bracho.
2-2 now, but Bracho with that front foot takes 2 very deliberate steps, almost like Mariano Rivera used to do, before he finally sets that front foot. 1 and 2 and plant and set and throw. Full count, 3-2. Eric Ibar on deck. Pitcher spot after that.
Excuse me, partner. That's one of the things that's kind of evolved in the game. Pitchers having little things they do in their setup. It used to be you get your sign, you come up in a set position, make sure you come to a full stop, and then throw the ball. Now it seems like everybody has a little toe tap or something that they do before they're ready to deliver the pitch.
Well, he's walked the first batter he's faced in the big leagues this year. He loses Blash a leadoff walk, and Ibar will hit.
Shortstop, Eric Ibar.
Big fastball just strays off the inside part of the plate at 94.
Yeah, Bracho in 6 2/3 innings at Reno had only walked 1. Leadoff man aboard for Ibar, who's 0 for 2. Pitcher spot is up next. Luis Sardinas in the on deck circle. There's a nice changeup from Bracho in there, and it's 0-1. Bracho had to be removed from a game for Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic. He had a hamstring injury very early in the tournament. But the Diamondbacks at the time not really concerned when or how it happened. Guys can get injured in spring training or World Baseball Classic. It's off the glove of Herman. It rolls up the line. Bloch was not looking. He slid into second, and he'll have to stay there.
Tough play for Chris Herman, holding the runner on at first base. That ball got on him in a hurry as he was shuffling off the bag. But the real key to this play, once it gets by Herman, right there, it trickles out into shallow right field. Watch Chris Owings at second base. He comes across and gives every indication that this is a double play grounder. I just went out of the picture there. CO went to the bag as if he was expecting a throw from Chris Herman. That forced Blash to slide into second base. He was not able to get up and advance to third.
They hang an error on Chris Herman. So 2 on, nobody out, and Sardinas, the switch hitter, will bat for the pitcher, Yolis Chacin. Sardinas just 3 for 23 this year. This is kind of the way things have gone for Silvino Bracho the last year or so at the big league level. The numbers at Reno are always very good, very encouraging. He's got that mid-90s fastball. But just things have gotten a little clumsy for him when he's been up here from time to time. Behind on Sardinas 1-0. Sardinas started at third base, and the Padres lost to Miami yesterday at Petco Park. He was 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Came into spring training competing for the starting shortstop job. Ibar won that pretty quickly, and so Sardinas is being converted into a super utility type. Bloch is at second and Ibar at first. Slider from Bracho, and it's 1-2. Hey, fans, prepare for a few big home games coming up in May. You won't want to miss these. The D-backs will host the Detroit Tigers May 9th and 10th. And then the Chicago White Sox May 22nd through the 24th as the AL Central comes in here. Sunday, May 14th, Mother's Day. First 10,000 moms get a D-backs clutch purse courtesy of PetSmart. So get your tickets for these and any game at dbacks.com. That means a visit from the Hawk. He gone.
Put her on a board. Yeah.
Chris Owings at shortstop made the stop and rolled away, and everybody stays put. The bases are full of Padres. CO did a nice job to get to that ball. It was in the glove but rolled out.
Center fielder, Manuel Margot.
Just trickled out of the glove and rolled far enough away that CO had no play anywhere, but for the time being that saves a run, much like Brandon Drury earlier in the ball game on Solarte's ball was able to knock it down, keep it in the infield. Zach Greinke was able to avoid damage. Chris Owings able to keep that one on the infield.
Mike Butcher to the mound to talk to Silvino Bracho. A base hit for Sardinius, and Bracho has worked himself into a bit of a jam here. A walk, a hard hit ball to first for the error on Herman, and then the single up the middle by Sardinius. Bases full, no outs for Manuel Margot. Margot, who's had 2 hits in each of his last 3 games, 1 for 3 so far tonight. He singled in the 3rd. Bullpen still quiet for the Diamondbacks. Double play ball here. Owings, Drury for 1, and Margot with that speed beats it out as Blash scores from 3rd. Close play at first. Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, is down there. Jerry Narron on the phone. We'll see what Alan Campbell can see. Run is going to count regardless. It's just a matter of is it 1 out or 2 here. Ibar will be at 3rd.
Very close, but it appeared Margot was able to get down on the bag before the ball hit the back of the glove.
Margot can really run well. 30 stolen bases at AAA last year. Torey Lovello out now with Adrian Johnson, the plate umpire. So let's go ahead and challenge. At this point, 7th inning, what do you got to lose? And Adrian Johnson clarifying exactly what aspect of the play they want to challenge. Eric Cooper will come over now and we'll put on the headsets.
Yeah, Margot didn't do himself any favors by hitting the middle of the base down there. Usually guys that are as fast as Margot really make a concerted effort to hit their toe on that very front edge of the bag. That's as quick as you can get there.
Here's the best angle we have. Remember, it's a catch when it's in the back of the mid, as Bob said. Boy, they may have a case
they
here.
got him.
Yeah,
it's about as close as you can possibly get, but
Eric Cooper and Gary Cedarstrom on the phone with New York, where they'll talk to their fellow umpires working in Major League Baseball Advanced Media watching the game.
you know, I like seeing this. You know, Torey Lovello, new to the National League, new to some of these umpires, being a bench coach. I'm sure he had some interaction with umpires, especially when he took over for John Farrell a couple of years ago. But yeah, make yourself known to these umpires. You know, go out there and speak intelligently and calmly when you can, and try to sway them to your side if at all possible.
And Torey's gone out there a few times and had some procedural questions.
Yeah.
So it's a good exercise for him as well.
Sure.
And the verdict is in from New York. Safe at first. Call is not confirmed. The call stands, which is code for
too close to tell.
Too close to overturn anyway. So it's a 7-2 ball game now. 1 out. Ibar is at 3rd and Margot at 1st. And here's Will Myers, who's 0 for 3.
Well, Margot will get credited with an RBI fielder's choice there, since he beat that throw to first base. But the Padres this season 0 for 8 with the bases loaded.
Well, with one swing here, Myers, a dangerous hitter, can make it an awfully more interesting ball game for Andy Green.
And Will Myers, he's just glad to see ABG. Anybody but Greinke.
0 for 3 with a couple of punch-outs. But Myers, 38 career games against the Diamondbacks, 50 hits, including 5 home runs. Pulls that one foul. Oh boy. Rodney Morrison, the Lizard King down there. This is the end. It came close. That one ate him up. Our Golden Glover, our rookie Golden Glover. Watch this hop. Rodney's ducking out of the way. The Lizard King, Rodney Morrison. Yeah, I'll get the next one.
What's the line from Touch Me? Is that the name of the song? Can't you see that I am not afraid? Well, that wasn't the case for the Lizard King that time.
Lizard King kind of turtled on that one. 2-1 to Myers. And there it goes. Will Myers say goodbye. His 5th, the 3-run homer. And suddenly it's a 7-5 ball game. Another bumpy ride for Silvino Bracho.
Well, we know Will Myers is a guy in this lineup that Andy Green relies on. Bracho tried to go after him. A fastball way inside for ball 1 at 94 miles an hour. Hung a slider right there that Myers pulled foul. Misses with a changeup. And then another changeup that just stayed right in the heart of the plate, and Myers got every bit of it.
Well, it's quickly become a 4-run San Diego 7th. That 7-1 lead is now 7-5. We'll take a break. Bracho being consoled by his pitching coach Mike Butcher after a very rough first major league inning this year. And this Silvino has pitched so well for Reno this year. 6 2/3, only 4 hits allowed with 12 strikeouts. But Myers, a 3-run homer, has made it a 7-5 ball game. And our Ashline call to the bullpen gives us J.J. Hoover to face on Hervey Solarte, who was 3 for 3 tonight with 3 singles. Each team now with 8 hits. That was the first Padre hit tonight that has not been a single. Bullpen has been busy for San Diego. They've already hit for their starting pitcher, Yolis Chacin. And Greg Stammen, the right-hander, up for the second time of the ball game. Jose Torres is the lefty.
It looked like they had two lefties up there. I think Brad Hand took over for the right-hander.
Yeah, that is Brad Hand on the left there. He's been really good this year, Brad Hand. Hoover ahead of Solarte, 1-2. Popped him up. This may stay playable here. Chris Herman will have a look, but it's behind the dugout. Well, this one had been a bit of a laugher for the Diamondbacks following the Chris Owings grand slam. First grand slam of CO's career, but suddenly Myers' 3-run homer has made it a little too interesting. Zach Greinke, 6 outstanding innings, 11 strikeouts. He gave up just 1 run. And Solarte strikes out, angry with himself as Hoover gets him 2 down.
Quite a reaction that time by Solarte. J.J. Hoover with a fastball up and out over the plate. Big swing, eyes closed at the end of that swing. Maybe keep your eyes open.
You kids at home.
You kids at home. Gotta see it to hit it.
Hunter Renfroe singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Renfroe's got 4 homers this year. He leads all National League rookies. Had a home run in San Diego yesterday against the Marlins. And he's now hit safely in 4 straight games. Can't catch up to that fastball, and it's 1-1. Brad Hand, the left-hander, on the left. Jose Torres, the left-hander, on the right.
Usually when you see 2 left-handers or 2 right-handers warming up at this stage of the ball game, one of them will come in if the score stays the way it is right now, and the other one will come in should the Padres sneak another run closer or perhaps tie it up.
Well, A.J. Pollock will lead off the bottom of the 7th, and behind him is the left-hand hitting Peralta. Then the lefty Lamb batting 4th as Hoover comes in and ends the drama with a couple of strikeouts, but it's a 7-5 ball game following the Will Myers homer. And plumbing cool plays of the game. David Peralta in the 1st. As Manny Tomas, an RBI double in the 4th. The Peralta homer, the 4th consecutive game in which the D-backs have hit a 1st inning home run. And then the big blow in the 5th. Chris Owings, 1st career grand slam. That has been most of the Diamondback offense tonight. 7 runs on 8 hits, including a pair of homers. And now A.J. Pollock will lead off the home half of the 7th against the new pitcher for the Padres. It's the left-hander Jose Torres.
Chris Owings, the understudy in the 3-hole in the lineup tonight, playing the role of Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldie getting a scheduled day off. Owings hitting third, has gone 2 for 3, including a grand slam. Herman playing first base has an RBI single. Torrey pushing all the right buttons. AJ again swings at the first pitch, something he rarely ever does, but he's done it now twice tonight. AJ with a 6-game hitting streak on the line. Not to mention Bob Brenly's 15-game beat the streak on the line.
Come on, AJ.
Down 0-2. I need a hit from Jake Lamb.
Got him right where you want him, AJ.
Well, we mentioned AJ this year hitting over 360 with 2 strikes, which is the best 2-strike batting average in the major leagues. It's 200 points over league average.
Come on, AJ.
You're at 15 right now?
Yep.
Oh boy. I'm just trying to get to 6.
Good take. Good take. No, he didn't go.
Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, agrees with you. It's 1-2.
You know, from our center field camera, where I can see the signs that Austin Hedges is giving, I'm thinking about yelling down there to AJ, what's coming?
I don't know why we don't do that all the time anyway. You just thinking of this now?
Fastball in.
Missed at 97 the last time. Here it is. Ryan Schiff bobbles the ball.
That's a knock.
Critical scoring decision right here.
That's a knock.
See. Gary Roush is our official scorer. Wait for it.
Oh, are you kidding me?
E5. Oh no, Bob Brenly.
I'll get that changed.
Here's a look.
Wow, that was going to take a great play to get him. I mean, he's tumbling backwards in the.
Now,
oh man, look at that. That's a
our
miracle
intrepid camera crew has captured the thrill of victory and the agony of your defeat. That's when you thought it was a hit. Here's David Peralta.
Well, let's bat around.
Beat the streak is not a game for the faint of heart.
Get him up there again. Now I'm rooting for everybody in the lineup.
Especially Jake Lamb. I can catch up to you. Peralta has homered, singled, and scored twice tonight. He has had multiple hits in 6 of his last 7 games. 16 for his last 30. Pulls back and takes a ball.
Yeah, nobody on the left side of the infield.
I mean, you see where Ibar, the shortstop, is, just about where he would normally be.
Ibar kind of waved David Peralta on. Go ahead.
I dare you.
Bunt it over here.
Well, the way he's been going the other way, it's a little harder to do that against a lefty than a righty for David. But they'll set up out there anyway. AJ takes off for second, and Peralta does indeed pop it up the other way. And now that's a base hit, popped off the ground, off the plates. So Peralta's got his 3rd hit tonight.
Got that trampoline bounce off of home plate itself. Let's him just drive this one right straight down off the plate. Boing. Yeah. High in the air to the left side, no play.
So AJ running on the pitch. So the Diamondbacks with an error. Correctly scored an error. And a chop single, have 2 on, no outs for Mr. Grand Slam himself, Chris Owings. Batting third for Goldie. CO has singled and homered. He's 2 for 3. Myers coming in on the grass at first. Another fastball in from Torres. He's really trying to get in on these righties with that fastball. And that's a pitch that CO usually loves, especially if it's up and in. He'll hit that pitch all day. Myers again creeping in on the grass. And there go the runners. Hedges throw to third. Safe. A double steal. That's number 4 for Pollock, and Peralta's third.
I just love to watch A.J. Pollock run the bases. He works hard to get that walking lead. He's very sly about it, but I love the way he slides. You don't see him flopping over the base into foul territory. He extends that right leg out there, hits the bag, and pops right up, stays on the base.
Now the Padre infield will creep in. 2-0 count to Owings with Jake Lamb on deck. Out of play. It's now a final at Coors Field. The Rockies won again. They beat Washington 8-4. Colorado trailed 4-1 in that ball game. D-backs came into tonight a game and a half behind the Rockies for the NL West lead. Rockies will be in here for 3 starting on Friday. dbacks.com for your tickets. The 2-1 to Chris Owings. Foul ground right side, and again it's out of play. 2-2. Bullpen quiet right now for the Padres. Lamb on deck. Jorge De La Rosa warming up in the Diamondback bullpen after J.J. Hoover struck out both batters he faced to win the top of the 7th. Just did get a piece of that one at 96. Torres throws hard. 96-97 from the left side. CO already with 4 RBIs tonight. He's got second and third, no out. On the ground to third, Schimpf coming home. Austin Hedges applies the tag, and that's the first out. Peralta in at third and Owings at first.
Unfortunately hit right at Ryan Schimpf at third base. That ball's to his right or to his left. It might make it a tougher play at the plate, but AJ couldn't even get to the dish that time. Now, I wouldn't expect Chris Owings to be at first base very long.
Well, this is the critical at bat of the ball game. Trying to extend my own beat the streak. I've already got Peralta, who's got 3 hits tonight, but Jake Lamb so far is 0 for 3.
Yeah, Torres has been 1-7 and above with every delivery he's made. Very deliberate. Takes a long time to unwind and unleash that ball to home plate.
CO a perfect 4 for 4 in his stolen base attempts. He holds there, and Jake Lamb now he's got a late jump, delayed steal, and Owings sure enough is in there.
.178 on that last delivery from Torres.
Usually 1-3 or higher you're going?
You're going, yeah. The good base stealers. 1-3 is kind of the demarcation point. If the pitcher's faster than that to home plate, it's a risky try. If he's above that, you can probably make it.
Jake with a 7-game hitting streak on the line here. Swing and a miss at that hard fastball, and it's 1-1. Jake Lamb has started 19 games this year. He's hit safely in 17 of them. 3 hits, including a double yesterday. Peralta is at third. Owings at second. 1 out. Chased a high fastball. That's a pitch that Jake oftentimes will lay off. He's good about not chasing those fastballs that are up. Ooh, that one missed, says Adrian Johnson. It's 2-2.
Hedges sets up off the outside corner, tries to push it back toward that outside corner, but didn't get the call that time.
And Lamb strikes out. 2 down. Jake 0 for 4. That'll bring up Yasmani Tomas, who has an RBI double. He has singled. He scored a run. 2 for 3. Yasmani Tomas, for the last half a season or so, has just crushed left-hand pitching. Ouch. That hit everything back there. Adrian Johnson behind the plate. Austin Hedges, the rookie catcher. Goldie with a night off.
Also with the jacket off. You may remember earlier in the ballgame he had his jacket on. So
he's getting itchy.
Well, it'd make a lot of sense to bring Goldie in defensively in a 2-run ball game late. But let's see how Torrey plays it.
Yasmani down 0-2.
And you just love the fact that Goldie's out on the bench, up on the railing, cheering for his teammates. You know, a lot of teams, you take your superstar player out of the lineup for a day, they're up in the clubhouse with their slippers on.
Another high fastball. Tomas strikes out and Torres strands 2. We head to the 8th inning. Diamondbacks lead by 2. Seven innings at 7-5. Diamondbacks. Zach Greinke was outstanding tonight. He went 6 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, didn't walk a batter, and had 11 strikeouts. Diamondbacks got a home run from David Peralta in the first, their 4th consecutive game with a first inning home run. And then Cricket Wireless something to smile about. Chris Owings grand slam in the 5th inning. First career grand slam for CO. Diamondbacks were up 7-1. But Silvino Bracho came on to pitch the 7th. Had a bumpy ride there. Will Myers a 3-run homer. They scored 4 in the inning. And so it's 7-5 as we start the 8th inning. Our Ashline call to the bullpen gives us the left-hander Jorge De La Rosa, who's been outstanding so far. 9 appearances and a 2.45 ERA. And work to the catcher Austin Hedges. Hedges 0 for 2. He knocked in a run with a sac fly his last time up. It's interesting that the Padres down only 2 here in the 8th inning. 3 right-hand hitters due up, and Torey Lovullo, who has seen his trust in Jorge De La Rosa grow more and more as the month has gone on, brings in the lefty to face these 3 righties. That tells you what Torey thinks about Jorge De La Rosa.
And De La Rosa's been a starter throughout his career. He's used to facing righties and lefties, and he's got weapons to get righties out.
Hedges hits one pretty deep left field. Yasmani Tomas is going to watch this one go. Austin Hedges, he's been a home run hitter lately. All 5 of his home runs had come in his previous 8 games, and that's number 6. And suddenly it's a 1-run ball game.
This is the pitch I said he uses to battle right-handers, that split changeup. Not a bad pitch out there near the outside corner on the knees. Hedges got great extension that time. Great carry. That ball's well out of here.
7-6 now. Each team with 9 hits. Each team with 2 home runs. Ryan Schimpf. Ryan Schimpf, of course, a left-hand hitter, so disregard what I was saying a moment ago. Schimpf 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Greinke. D-backs have the shift on. Chris Owings out there, the shortstop in short right field. Jake Lamb almost halfway between 2nd and 3rd on the left-hand side. Padres with 1 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, now 1 in here in the 8th. So that Chris Herman RBI single in the 6th inning, the difference in the ball game right now. De La Rosa behind on the lefty, 3-1. Way up in the air, left center. Tomas calling for it. Oh, well.
Hey fans, join hand-selected judges and Valley chefs before the game this Saturday, April 29th for the D-backs Burgers and Beer Cook-Off Challenge presented by Budweiser. Get a VIP ticket now for just $50. That includes complimentary burger and beer samples plus a lower-level game ticket. Visit dbacks.com/burgers.
Jabari Blash, a lot of power from the right side. He walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 2. There's that split changeup from De La Rosa. It's 0-1. Blash 0 for 10 in the big league so far this year. Just called up from the minors today. He had a couple of home runs with AAA El Paso this year. Diamondbacks in the home half of this inning will have Drury, Herman, and Mathis due up 6, 7, and 8. Brad Hand, the left-hander, started warming up again. Oop, gotta answer the phone.
I never really thought about it before, but the Diamondbacks bullpen phone for Mike Fetters is right behind the mound.
Very handy. Somebody's thinking.
That visitor's bullpen, you got to run to the other end where the phone is on the wall.
Yeah, there's Fett. He's kind of chilling. Fernando Rodney. Feet up. 2-2 to Jabari Blash. Got him. First strikeout for Jorge De La Rosa. 2 down. That'll bring up Eric Ibar.
It was a great job by De La Rosa to show fastball into Blash earlier in the sequence at 95 and then throw him nothing but change-ups after that. Take advantage of the aggressiveness of a young hitter. Just can't stay back.
There's Eric Ibar, the shortstop. 0 for 3. Pitcher spot is up next, and Hector Sanchez is in the on-deck circle. He'll get to hit as Ibar knocks it into center. And the tying run's aboard. So here comes Hector Sanchez.
Ibar hasn't hit many balls on the button this year, but he ropes that one back up the middle of the field. All De La Rosa could do was try to catch it behind his back as it whistled by on its way to center.
Sanchez is hitless in 10 at-bats this year. He is the go-ahead run at the plate with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Jeff Mathis wants to talk it over. So does Mike Butcher. Sanchez, former Giants catcher. That's where you probably remember him from. He started last year with the Chicago White Sox. He was put on waivers last May, and the Padres picked him up. And he hit 3 homers with San Diego last year. Spent most of last season with their AAA team in El Paso.
Technically one of 4 catchers that the Padres carry on their roster. Austin Hedge is a starter tonight. You got Hector Sanchez at the plate right now. Also Luis Torrens, I believe is his name, and Christian Bethancourt, who also doubles as a relief pitcher.
Yeah, Torrens is another Rule 5 pick that the Padres are keeping on their roster. Sanchez, parts of 5 big league seasons with the Giants. He's got a couple of World Series rings. Swing and a miss.
Caught Jeff Mathis on the side of the mask that time, and being a catcher himself, he just wants to make sure everybody's okay. Just clip that little extension that reaches out both sides of the mask to kind of protect your ears for a foul tip.
Ibar does not have a stolen base attempt this year.
And this wouldn't seem to be a time to try to run with 2 outs in the inning, and you've got a pinch hitter at the plate. If he would happen to get thrown out stealing, you've burned your pinch hitter.
Ibar the tying run. That split change from De La Rosa missed, and it's 1-1. Ibar takes off for second. The throw from Mathis. Not in time. Tying run in scoring position. Pitch was a ball to Sanchez. It's 2-1. Now a meeting at the mound.
Yeah, big time stolen base that time for Eric Ibar. Got himself a good jump. Went on first movement. Mathis with a strong throw, but he just outruns the throw to second base. One thing Brandon Drury is going to have to start doing is keep the tag on the guy. Hey, we see so many players slide onto and off of the base. Yeah. That time Drury just tried a little slap tag and pulled the glove out.
Yeah, that's become standard now in this era of replay review when the guy lifts a foot or a finger off the bag. 2 balls and a strike to Hector Sanchez. That's in there, and it's 2-2. Fastball at 94. One more big strike coming up for Jorge De La Rosa. Tying run at second and 2 outs in the 8th. Nice block by Mathis. Ibar really dancing around down there at second.
They shipped a long way to get to that one. That ball was almost behind Sanchez.
Got the rookie Manuel Margot on deck. 2 outs, 3 balls, and 2 strikes. Mathis will complete the strikeout. But the Padres pick up another run. Sanchez is retired to win the 8th. But now will Laffers become a 1-run game at 7-6.
The post-game show will be Zach Greinke. We wondered out loud in the pregame show if he would build on that game in San Diego. It looks like he certainly did.
Absolutely. He looked pretty much just as dominant, if not more. He used a little bit more pitches with getting 11 strikeouts through 6 innings, but looked absolutely spectacular again tonight.
And here's a warning, Steve, to your partner, Bob Brenly. Brandon Webb and Bob were channeling each other at one point during the telecast. We'll break down his addition and subtraction at some point. So, Steve, bring it home.
All right, Todd, thanks. I can't wait to find out what that's all about.
If it involves math, I don't want anything to do with it.
New pitcher for the Padres, the left-hander Brad Hand, who's been really good this year for Andy Green. Brandon Drury leads off the Diamondback 8th. Brad Hand this year has been pretty much unhittable. Finally gave up a hit to a right-hand batter Friday. It was a 2-run homer by Giancarlo Stanton in Petco Park, but 9 appearances, still a 1 ERA.
11 strikeouts against 2 walks in his 9 innings of work.
In the hole, and it's under the glove of Ibar and into left. A leadoff single for Drury.
Good ground ball headed toward that hole between third and short. You see Ibar's cheating that direction a little bit, but that ball was hit so hard he couldn't get to it. Sneaks through into left field for a base hit just under the glove.
Well, you've got Herman, who will now have to bat against the lefty. Chris's RBI single in the 6th is the difference in the ball game right now. He's 1 for 3. Playing first base, Goldie has the night off. Mathis on deck. Squares to bunt, pulls back and takes ball 1. Schimpf coming in from third. Tony Perez Chica, the third base coach. There you see Ryan Schimpf on the left-hand side, couple of steps in. Bunt again. There's a strike. Boy, Hunter Renfroe, the right fielder, is about 1.5 miles off the line. A lot of room down that right field line. Anything hit down there, and Drury would score easily. Brad Hand opposing hitters. Only 5 for 33 against him this year. There's the 1-1 to Chris Herman. Shimp creeping in from third. Herman takes ball 2.
And we talked earlier this season about the philosophy of the new Diamondbacks hierarchy. They don't really like to give away outs via the sac bunt. There are certain situations like this one, tough left-handed pitcher on the mound, left-handed hitter at the plate. In a 1-run game, maybe it makes more sense to give up an out in this situation, but after showing bunt on the first couple pitches, Chris Herman looked like he was ready to leave earth on that next one.
2-1 pitch. Fastball missed in. Herman ahead 3-1. Fernando Rodney has started warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Padres will have the top of the order due up in the 9th. Margot, Myers, and Solarte 1, 2, and 3.
Diamondbacks have only put down 2 sacrifice bunts all season.
With 3-1 to Chris Herman.
Fastball away. Missed a spot badly that time from one side of the plate to the other. But at 94, Chris Herman still had to battle just to get a piece of that one. You see where Hedges sets up. You see where Hand throws the ball.
That's a tough at bat for Chris.
And try it out there again.
Way up in the air behind second base. Ibar and Solarte out there. It'll be the second baseman Solarte, and that's the first out in the bottom of the 8th.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located right here at Chase Field during any D-backs home game.
Well, here's Jeff Mathis, who was 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts, and right now Jeff is stuck in a 2 for 35 at the plate. Pitcher spot is up next, and there's another catcher in the on-deck circle. It's Chris Iannetta.
Could it be 3 catchers hitting in a row?
Easy, big fella. The question is, should it be? The answer to that is obviously yes.
Of course.
Mathis hits one right field for Renfroe. 2 outs. So here's Iannetta to hit for De La Rosa. Chris hitting .267 with 2 homers. He started behind the plate yesterday against the Dodgers, went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts.
Come on, Chris.
You just want A.J. Pollock to get another chance.
My guy's in the on-deck circle.
Your streak is hanging by a thread. Mine's pretty much done. I don't think we're going to get to Lamb, although I got my fingers crossed.
Walking.
I'm not sure I could take the drama, frankly, after your reaction to the E5 and AJ's last at bat. It's already a tight game here, 7-6. AJ has walked, reached on an error, scored a run, stolen a base, but still without a hit. Chris ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Rockies have won. They beat the Nationals 8-4 at Coors. Giants lead the Dodgers right now 2-0. They're in the 7th at AT&T Park. And check on the fastball, and it's 2-1.
Oh, there you go.
So A.J. Pollock comes up. 2 on and 2 out. Iannetta takes one for the team, or in this case for Bob Brenly.
It's catcher's fraternity. That's a literally, well, it got the front foot. I thought it hit the back foot that time. A slider way down and in from Brad Hand. Iannetta just couldn't get out of the way.
All right, so your beat the streak is up to what right now?
15 and a half.
Because you've already got the base hit from David Peralta, right?
Yeah.
So you need a base hit by A.J. here to continue your beat the streak.
Or I need the official scorekeeper to change his mind on that ball last time A.J. was up.
I've already slipped him $20.
Well, I know where he parks. I'll let the air out of his tires.
Not the first time you've done that to an official score, I'd like to point out. So
Come
here
on,
we go.
A.J.
2 on, 2 out for A.J. 0 for 3 tonight. Ball 1. You nervous?
No. This is my guy.
A.J. 6-game hit streak on the line. 15-gamer for Bob. He's got Drury at second and Iannetta at first.
Fortunately, in beat the streak, you don't actually have to get the hit. You just have to pick the guy that gets the hit. So I'm not nervous at all.
I know you're lying.
Hardly.
Did you? Well, you get a mulligan too, don't you, when you reach a certain point?
Yeah, I have to check the rules on that. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but if it applies, I would definitely use it.
I'll give you one more ball off the tee. A.J. doesn't get a hit here. Slow curveball in there, and it's 2-1.
I'm not sure, but I think Brad Hand is trying to keep him from getting a hit.
Well, that's generally the idea, yeah. If you're the pitcher, they tend to frown on giving up the hits when you're pitching.
Stay down.
Tough play for Schimpf. Throws it off the bag, but Myers able to get a foot on there. Hold on, we're going to need to look at this. Gary Cederstrom, the first base umpire, the crew chief over there, says out at first. Jerry Narron on the phone with Alan Campbell, the video coordinator. Nope, Torrey's not going to challenge, so that is a ground out for A.J. Pollock. Here's Bob Brenly, his beat the streak on the line as Schimpf makes a nice play. Myers an even better one over there. And BB's streak may come to an end. 9th inning coming up. A one-run lead in the 9th inning, trying to close out a 7-6 D-backs lead. Rodney said this winter, after he signed with the Diamondbacks, he'd already put in an order for 45 invisible arrows. He's used up 5 so far, a perfect 5 for 5. And he'll face the top of the Padre order in a 7-6 9th inning. Manuel Margot, the rookie, will lead it off. Will Myers and then Yangervis Solarte. Defensive changes for Torey Lovullo. Goldie and his 2 gold gloves takes over at first base, and Jeremy Hazelbaker replaces Yasmani Tomas in left field. So shoring up the defense a bit behind Rodney, who looks for his 6th save in 6 chances as a Diamondback. Margot single in the 3rd. He is 1 for 4.
First pitch changeup from Rodney right out of the pen. Once again, these aggressive young Padres hitters, they're ready to hack as soon as they leave that on deck circle.
That's out of play, and Fernando is up 0-2. He began last season as the Padres closer, Fernando Rodney. He was outstanding in San Diego. He was 17 for 17 in his save opportunities before a midseason trade to Miami. Marlins used him as a setup man for A.J. Ramos. He didn't pitch nearly as well in that role as he had closing games for the Padres.
We showed you Silvino Bracho earlier in the ball game and his toe taps and his glove waggle, and Rodney's just about the opposite. He barely moves. He gets his sign, he puts the ball in the glove, and he slides toward home plate and lets it go.
Still gets it up mid-90s. There's that changeup in the dirt. Now 40 years old, Fernando Rodney. Approaching 270 career saves over parts of 14 seasons. Ahead of Manuel Margot, 1-2. Do not want to put anybody on base ahead of Will Myers, who hit a 3-run homer his last time up. Buchter the lefty, Mauer the righty. He's their closer. The 2-2. Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. Brandon Webb, Todd Walsh are standing by. High chopper. Owings at shortstop. Tough play. Got him. Margot can really fly up that line. Nicely done by CO.
CO knew he really had to put something on that throw. He gets his body into a position. You see him turn so that when he catches the ball, he's ready to throw all in one motion. Had to get it over there in a hurry to get Margot.
The dangerous Will Myers now. Myers 3-run homer in the 7th was his 5th of the year. Just about a 370 career hitter in this ballpark. Fastball is in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. .98 from Rodney. No balls and 2 strikes.
Right off the bird cage that time. Jeff Mathis takes one off the top of the mask, up and over the backstop. That very nearly came up here in our booth.
There's another one. 97 from Rodney. 2 in a row for Jeff back there.
He might catch for a month and not get hit in the face mask with a foul tip. He gets 2 in 1 at bat.
Jeff Mathis caught Fernando Rodney last year when they were both with the Miami Marlins. D-backs lead at 7-6, each team with 10 hits. 0-2 on Will Myers, 1 out in the 9th. Got him. 2 down.
Full fastball at 98. That hitter naturally has to gear it up just a little bit. Even a good hitter like Will Myers, and that straight changeup looks just like the Fernando Rodney fastball.
On Hervey Solarte, 3 for 4 tonight, 3 singles. D-backs fans trying to close this one out along with Rodney. Fly ball short right. Here comes Peralta. There goes the arrow up into the sky. Fernando Rodney saves it. D-backs win it 7-6 as Greinke strikes out 11. And the Diamondbacks got 2 more homers. A solo shot by David Peralta and Chris Owings' first career grand slam.
Yeah, because of the comeback that the Padres put on the D-backs right there to make it a close ball game, you kind of lose sight of the fact that Zach Greinke pitched an absolute gem tonight.
6 innings. He gave up only 1 run, no walks with 11 strikeouts. And the Diamondbacks take the opener of this 4-game sit against the Padres. They improve the overall record this year to 13-8. Let's get Diamondback Live postgame show underway. Webby is standing by with Todd Walsh.
You just did, Steve. Thank you very much. And Brandon, let's be honest, there was no reason for this game to grind to a halt and be as close as it was. But the back of the end of the bullpen seals the deal. The Diamondbacks hold off the Padres. I think Bob Brenly hit the nail on the head. Can't lose sight of the fact of what Zach Greinke put together tonight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of do lose fact. It's been a little bit since he was in there time-wise, but he pitched an absolutely spectacular game again. Dominated 11 strikeouts just through 6 innings and held on just enough for the win and went for the D-backs.
And you're ready to talk to Bob on the postgame show about adding and subtracting, right?
Adding, subtracting. Little math.
I think Bob's worried. So am I. However, when we come back, Jody Jackson down at field level. We'll have an on-field interview before we begin the proceedings here on the set and get Bob into the fray. We'll hear from Troy Lovello, as we always do, the skipper of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and more clubhouse reaction in the wake of his 7-6 win in Game 1.